Let's
Hello.
go. Podcast time.
Best part of my 2 weeks.
Anyways, let's get right up into the follow-up. So last time we talked a lot about health, and there were
Yes.
2 points I wanted to follow up on.
Sure.
First, I recommended people make kale smoothies, but if you do, make sure you blend twice. First with the liquid and the green shit, so
Yeah.
like kale or spinach or whatever, and blend that, and then add the stuff and blend the rest. Because if you do it all at once, you get like gross big green like bits, and it's not a good time.
That sounds unappealing.
Yeah, like if you do it properly, it's good stuff.
You don't
but-
want to need to floss after you drink a smoothie.
Yeah, actually, pretty much. That's the lesson there. And then the other thing we talked about, how people in the UK think that it's bad to reheat rice.
Yeah, well, I can't. It's not everyone in the UK, probably, but everybody at my girlfriend's work in the UK was very convinced of it. And I'm living proof that that is not the case. Otherwise, I would get sick every day.
Yeah, so I found a website that I left in the show notes last time.
Oh,
It's
yeah?
the NHS. I think it's like some kind of health organization.
Yeah,
in the
that's
UK.
National Health Society.
It's something like
I think
that,
it's
yeah.
English or
Yeah, it's
like
English.
British?
It's a .uk website.
all right,
so,
yeah. So it's just British. Yeah.
Yeah. And they say, yes, you can get food poisoning from eating reheated rice, but
So-
it's not the reheating that causes the problems.
It's just the rice that is old.
Yeah, it's actually room temperature rice that causes the problems.
Oh, so if I reheat it, then I'm fine.
Not exactly. It's apparently uncooked rice can contain spores of Bacillus cereus.
Basilisks? Wow.
That's a pusher.
That's pretty bad. That will kill you.
Yeah, so it can cause food poisoning, and they grow when rice is left at room temperature. It grows into a bacteria that causes poison.
Because I keep it in the fridge.
Yeah, so the longer it's left at room temperature, the more likely it is that this is gonna like food poison you or.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I cook it and then like within 20 minutes it's in the fridge. But it's just in the fridge for like 6 days and then I eat it. But
Yeah, actually, that's the recommendation. If you ideally you serve rice as soon as it's cooked. If that isn't possible, cool it as quickly as possible. Ideally within an hour, so like 20 minutes should be fine. And they also say don't keep it in the fridge more than a day until reheating.
well,
but-
they can off with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now they
that's
don't know what
probably
they're talking
fine.
about. They probably do.
They probably know a lot more than us, yeah.
Exactly.
And then
but
when you
maybe my gut bacteria is just too strong.
Maybe, yeah,
I
maybe.
drank kombucha once.
There you go.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
So
And then when you do reheat the rice, always make sure that the dish is steaming hot all the way through.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, so that it's not full of poison.
Full of basilisks.
Full of
That would suck.
That would really suck.
You look at your rice in the microwave and there's just a basilisk and you turn into stone. Oh no.
Oh shit, that's not good.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's the follow-up. That's the couple of warnings and pro tips they wanted to give people after the last episode.
So fair enough,
They
yeah.
might have been wondering about.
Or you could just get food poisoning.
I mean, if that's your goal, yes. Just leaving rice out for a day would probably do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't leave anything out for a day.
Yeah, no.
Like
And maybe if you're like really committed to staying home from school for some reason. Pro trick.
I'm gonna give myself botulism. I'll never have to go to school.
Just miss every test.
Yeah,
Just
I'm gonna
leave rice out.
ferment pickles in pure sugar water at room temperature for like 3 months and then eat it. I'll never have to go to school again.
Because you'll be dead.
Yeah, probably.
All right, that's good. On that note, topic of today,
Yeah.
productivity.
Yeah, sure.
How to get stuff done. So I think I want to start out just like a general statement. I think a lot of people, when you think about productivity or how to be more productive, I think a lot of people just think you got to like try harder
Just do it.
or just do it.
Just
Yeah.
do it.
Which, I mean, to a certain extent, just do it. Sure, yeah. I mean, you're either trying or you're not trying.
Yeah. You have to try at least a little bit.
What's that from?
I don't know. I just made it up. It's a quote from me.
Yeah, actually, I think I've been listening to you so much that might actually be a quote from you from a previous podcast. That's where I heard it. Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm famous.
All right, there you go. With me, at least.
Yeah. Oh, did you want to do a little shout out beforehand?
Go for it.
Amazon.
Oh yeah, if you're noticing difference in the quality of the mics today,
specifically with Aiden, probably.
Ooh, yeah, actually, specifically with me, because Evan isn't using my microphone anymore. I'm using my microphone and don't have to use my headphones microphone because Evan also has a microphone now.
Yeah, but half an hour ago, or no, it was more than that. It was like an hour ago. I bought the Yanmai Q8. Probably available on Amazon, maybe.
Maybe. Well, if it is, we will leave the affiliate link in the show notes.
Yeah. You two people who aren't us who listen to it, please buy it.
So yeah, productivity, I think it's generally about trying to manage a workload or your workload so you can get stuff done in a timely manner to a decent amount of quality. The one other thing that I wanted to talk about before we get really into it is I think when you think like productivity, I don't know, I think maybe most people, maybe it's just me, I think like offices, like classic like business person.
Well now I do, but
yeah, no, it's just like people, it's like we got to be more productive, more synergistic. There you go, that's the word.
With me, I usually just think of all the shit I'm not doing that I should be doing when I hear productivity or like just like doing like chores and stuff.
That's fair. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because with me, my trap I fall into is I like either cook food and clean for like my apartment, or I do schoolwork. I don't do both. So like during exam time, my apartment becomes like filthy because I'm just like, I'll clean them after my exams are done, even though it's like a 2-week long period.
Fair enough. Yeah. Anyways, what I kind of wanted to go into there was just the idea, like in an office, it's very like not so much easy, but like laid out how the productivity works. Like you have a boss usually who sets your priorities and tells you like what to do, and you might have an assistant to like keep track of stuff. And because like, and then within those constraints, you're free to just like do your work kind of.
Yeah.
Now I'm not like, you know, totally for all those constraints, but I think that's a lot of people when they go and try and do like either like student work or working on their own, like a lot of self-employed people, they feel like they don't need that kind of stuff, or that's just like what business people do. I think they're kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater there, because a big part of like productivity is setting the priorities and making sure you're not like losing track of stuff. So that's basically what this kind of is, this idea of trying to be more productive or like better at it, is trying to be a better boss for yourself and a better like assistant for yourself, pretty much.
I'm going to be honest. I don't see myself ever working in an office when I'm done my degree. I plan on working like almost entirely outside if I can. So that I find like physical outdoor work a lot easier to be productive because it's not like you have to get in your head and prioritize and like think about different stuff while you're doing one mental task but thinking about other stuff. It makes it easy to procrastinate and difficult to focus. I like sort of outdoor work at least, and like physical work is like very easy to be productive for me because you can think about whatever you want. It's just like, all right, this thing needs to be over there, or like this thing needs to be built, or something like that. It makes it like it's easy because you don't need to dedicate any brain space really. It's just like, all right, just do this. So I find with like schoolwork and stuff, it's more difficult because it's like if you're thinking about something else, then you have to like stop thinking about it at least a little bit in order to like study and whatever. So yeah, but I've never really thought about that sort of office working at home thing because I've never planned on working that sort of job. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I expressed it very well what the point was, but it was just the idea is in order to get stuff done, you have to try and recreate that kind of stuff purposely. Anyways, let's just forget about that.
Anyways.
And I know you recently had some exams.
I had, about 1 week ago, a genetics midterm, and on Tuesday I had a Spanish final exam. So, indeed.
Okay, yeah. So you have been busy lately, I assume.
Yeah, but those are my two favorite courses this semester.
Oh, fair enough.
So
that's nice.
All good.
Yeah.
I imagine what you're going to ask is how are you productive in studying for those?
Yeah, how do you go about studying? How do you do that?
It really depends on the course, but like in the scenario where I'm very up to date with the class, like I find that I have taken thorough notes all along the course.
Yeah.
Then I'll just go over my notes that I made, maybe make summary notes if I think I need to, if there's like a lot of content. And then do a practice exam or something like that. And then looking at the practice exam, see what I know and see what I don't know and study what I don't know a lot. And then do a different practice exam and just sort of repeat until you know everything.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I think that's the best way to go about it is just the practice exams mainly.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But a couple times I've fallen into the trap of like doing there were like 2 or 3 practice exams and I just did all of them so many times that I could get perfect on them. But I just knew those questions. Like I just memorized the answers to the questions, which honestly wasn't the worst because it was a biology course. So it was still like...
Yeah, it's still studying, isn't
pretty similar.
Because it's a lot of memorizing in biology.
Yeah, so it was like pretty similar. So like maybe like 70% of the questions I was like, oh, I know exactly what this is. But then the other 30%, I had no clue because I didn't look at like the concepts.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I usually find that that's definitely like the best way to do it. Like as long as you actually learn how to do the stuff.
Yeah, and not just like memorize the answer.
Yeah, I have a lot of math and like physics courses.
Yeah.
So it's just problem solving, and as long as you learn the techniques, you're good.
Honestly, I miss calculus so much. I took 2 calculus courses first year, and I loved them. So good. I'm in the minority for that for sure, but
yeah, I'm a little tired of them, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Another question, just generally, what kind of stuff do you have to do? Like, you have school, obviously, that you need to get done.
Yeah.
But what other responsibilities or things do you have to keep track of or do?
Nowadays, like living on my own, it's so you've got school, you've got dishes, cooking, money sometimes, and actually to do with money, I do a lot of like studies that pay money.
Oh yeah.
So that's something I sort of do. Talking to people, make sure that like I like talk to like my family and stuff back home, but then also like doing social stuff like here so that I don't just I live like essentially on my own, and I'm not a fan. Like next school semester, I'm definitely living with more roommates.
Yeah.
Because like it's kind of like because you don't really want to talk to people during class and stuff, but then when you like don't do anything and then just go home, you're like, wow, that was boring.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's important to like put in time to like socialize as well. But yeah. So like socializing in general, and then just like keeping the house clean and dishes clean, and then cooking, and then also keeping in shape, which probably takes about an hour and a half a day.
Okay.
In total, because it's like you need to shower and stuff after. So.
Oh yeah, I guess so. When you add in all the other stuff, that makes sense.
And that's mainly it.
That's pretty much it. Okay, so it's like school, housework, social stuff, health.
Yeah.
Basically. Oh, and then like money, like studies and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then some semesters you'll have a job, and I guess the responsibilities there for school, basically.
Somewhat, but then we still have to take a course during our job.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's an online course. It's kind of whack.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, we have to like write work reports and stuff.
Oh, okay.
It's not fun. It's very much not fun. And I don't understand the purpose of it. The whole first course we took was to learn how to correctly write work reports for our co-op jobs, But the only time we'll ever need to write a work report for our co-op job is for our co-op. Like, we don't actually need to do that during our real jobs. Like, what's the purpose of that, you know?
I don't know. Is it like summarizing like just how you're doing? Basically?
No, it was like
what you're learning.
It was pick an issue at work. And it's like, it can be like a safety issue. It can be like a social issue. I'm like, we're chilling. I don't know what's going on. And then it's like, just like talk about it in like 20 pages. You have to make like a 20-page report. And I'm like, bruh, can you chill out?
Intense. All right.
Yeah. Mine was the worst.
Yeah, I guess you don't really need to know how to write the reports, but I see the idea behind making you write them.
Yeah.
It's like so that you can spot issues in the workplace.
Yeah, but while I was also working like 45 hours a week, I did not appreciate it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
not at all
appreciated.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, you have all these responsibilities. What do you use to keep track of them all and make sure you get them done?
I have a calendar, like a monthly calendar that I just sort of write due dates and stuff on.
The big dry erase one on
Yeah. And I have like blue is school stuff, green is social stuff, red is sports stuff, like when I have like a game or like when I'm doing this workout or whatever. And I update it every month. And then also I have like phone reminders.
Okay, is that just for the calendar events, basically?
Well, yeah. Also, I do like checklists for the day of stuff that's like smaller, like you know, pay rent, whatever. That like I'm not going to put on my like thing, but I can just check off. It's like, okay, at the end of the day, I want all these checked off. You know.
So like,
it's like a checklist.
You write that at the beginning of the day, kind of.
Yeah, or the night before. Usually the night before, actually.
Of what I want to remember, like pay rent on this day.
Yeah. Okay. Or sometimes I just forget. Sometimes I just forget things.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I'd say that's very similar to what I was doing for a while, and I probably should have kept doing. I have a Surface Book, which is like a 2-in-1 laptop with a pen, so I can write on the screen and everything.
Can you buy it on Amazon?
Yeah, actually, I think you can.
Wow.
Link in the show notes if you want a Surface Book. Anyways, what I did was I got a page in OneNote, and I got a picture of 4 months of a calendar, and I pasted it into OneNote, and then I just write on it like a regular calendar.
Oh yeah, you're just on my tablet.
That. Yeah, so I was doing the same thing. I have colors for each of the classes, color for like seeing people, a color for like any like extracurriculars or health things.
Yeah.
And then like highlight boxes and stuff.
That's very similar.
Yeah. Extremely similar.
Yeah. It wouldn't work for me on my computer though, because one, I don't look at my computer when I'm not doing schoolwork. Like for my co-op term, I almost never looked at it. And two, it doesn't work when it's not plugged in. My laptop. So that would very much not work. It's like 5 years old. I got it in grade 11.
Okay.
Grade 10 or grade 11? I don't even know. It was old.
But yeah, anyways, the reason why I did it in OneNote was because I wanted the electronic copy, because I was on campus like 12 hours a day, and I had to like commute back. Yeah, 10 to 12 usually.
How many hours of class did you have per week?
Like somewhere usually between 25 to 30, but it's spread out. Oh, okay, but it's spread out. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking you're going to say like, yeah, I had like 60 hours of class a week, and I'm like, wow, cool.
Well, I mean, if you're supposed to do like an hour of homework for every hour you're in class, then
I was told 2.
It's 1 to 3. So
yeah, but 3 hours of homework for every hour you were in class is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what course has ever required that.
Do you actually do 2?
No.
Yeah, I don't know if I even do 1.
I don't even know if I do 1 either. I probably don't, to be honest. Well, for courses like my biochemistry course right now, it's a 40% midterm and a 60% final. So I do nothing when I'm not in class a lot of the time. But then for like a month before one of the exams, I start studying, and then the week before I'm like studying like 4 hours a day.
Makes sense. It's very like built up.
It's very, very much like not spread out.
It's It's the like 8 hours immediately before the exam for me. Usually,
Yeah.
that's when you start.
Nah, for bio, you absolutely cannot do that.
Fair, yeah. I can kind of get away with
for
that.
some
with
maths,
math.
you can.
Yeah.
Like calculus, you probably can.
I do that all the time. 8 hours of Khan Academy, and you're golden.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, I need to know how to do these functions.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Now I know.
Yeah.
And I have a rough idea of when to use them. Yeah.
Or like oftentimes physics classes can be done like that
too. That's why I still love physics. Like it's so much fun.
Especially like beginning physics, like first year.
Oh yeah.
That's basically just F equals ma in every direction, and you're good.
Yeah. Mine was a little more. We did like center of inertia.
Oh yeah, we did that.
And stuff like that.
Even then, it's still just like one extra equation.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually, yeah.
And like there's some energy conversion and stuff,
Yeah,
but not much.
yeah.
But like in high school physics, literally what I would do, I had it first period I had third period in grade 11 and first period in grade 12, I think it was.
Sure.
But what I would do is for like 15 minutes before the class, I would look through the notes because in high school I actually printed the notes for courses. That's wild. People still do that now. I don't even own ink for my printer. But anyway,
yeah, I know. Right?
I own a printer, but I don't own ink. It's like legitimately.
That's so dumb.
Yeah. But what I would do is I would just look for between the last test to this test, what are the formulas we've used? There's usually like 3 or 4. And then I would just stare at them, and then right when we get the test, I would write them on the back of my sheet, or like on the back or front of my test sheet.
Oh, yeah.
And then just be like, all right, these are the... Sometimes I'd write them on a desk, but the teacher got kind of pissed when I did that. like I would get the test and then write it on the desk. But he's still like, could you not?
Yeah.
But so I would just be like, all right, these are the equations. These are the variables they give, except for one in this equation. So this is clearly what I have to use and stuff. Like that's why I love it so much, because it's literally just like, what variables are you given? What are you trying to get? Okay, get from this to that.
Yeah, that's a nice time.
That's why everyone doing physics, state your variables, state your givens.
Seriously, that's so important.
Yeah.
Also in like engineering classes, which are basically just physics classes, same thing, state your variables.
Yeah.
Except you can't memorize the formulas because they're correlations.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Correlations, they're basically formulas, except they're not derived theoretically, they're derived experimentally. So they're like page-long
That's formulas. The most engineering thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, it's because they don't actually understand what the hell's going on. So they've just measured the shit out of it over the past like 50 to 100 years or whatever.
And they're like, this will get you real close.
Within these values for these variables, you can use this correlation. Then within these values for these.
Oh.
And that's
why I was in physics and not engineering.
That's why we get like 25 like page double-sided formula sheets.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, like you have to print out like a little booklet to bring with you to every exam, and each one's different, right? Every class.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane the number of like formulas and charts and stuff, because you can't memorize this stuff.
That's actually the difference between engineering and physics. Those are experimentally derived, but physics is like, obviously it's backed up by the data, but it's just like pretty close because we're like, I don't care about experimental.
Like, there's still all the theoretical stuff, but then once you get to the point where you just don't know.
Well, and engineering is basically applied physics.
Yeah, actually, pretty much.
So especially aerospace.
Yeah, very much so.
So
a lot of physics.
Yeah, it's just like physics, but it actually needs to be the real number and not just like pretty close.
It needs to be well, it doesn't need to be the exact. There's so much like just saying, this is close enough.
Yeah.
Or you can just ignore this part because it's insignificant.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's always nice.
Yeah, it's like, it's within an order of magnitude. That's good.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That'll do.
You can just ignore parts of equations a lot of the time, which is nice.
Yeah.
That's a good time.
Can't relate.
Yeah.
I should try an engineering course. Actually, no, I shouldn't. They're like twice the price at this school.
Yeah, don't do it.
I won't.
They're much more expensive.
Yeah. For some reason.
I don't always know. Like sometimes, sure, we get to go and like watch a engine go one time or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, but it's literally twice the price here. And I'm like, it's still the same amount of class time, pretty much, per course.
Yeah.
And then, like, they don't have labs, a lot of them. Some of them do.
Or like,
but like,
it's the labs that you quote unquote get to do because you get to go and watch the lab tech do it.
Oh, really?
Which is absolute bullshit.
Oh, I've never had that.
We got this giant diesel engine and watch the lab tech turn it on.
And you're like, wow, tight.
We got this like metal rod that we're going to shake, or the lab tech's going to shake it. That was actually sick, though. It basically just made like the soundtrack to Transformers. This like...
What?
It was, like a metal rod just like oscillating. It was like the standing wave, right?
Yeah.
And it was... And once you get close to the... what do you call it? The harmonic frequency? Or natural frequency, that's the word. When you get close to that, and it's getting close to like breaking, it makes these crazy noises that are essentially just like Transformers talking.
That's kind of cool.
I know, right? That was actually pretty sick. And he like turned off the lights and everything, and it was getting like crazy.
With mine, literally all mine, you do it yourself. Like I've done 2 chemistry labs, 1 physics lab, 2 or 3 biology labs, and 2 earth labs.
Yeah.
And
all the physics labs we get to do.
Yeah.
But
everything you do it yourself. For the earth labs, you put on those hip waders and you go in the pond yourself. You measure how fast the stream is going. That's what I actually did. It was great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting actually to do stuff.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, it would be.
That'd be very nice. Yeah. Anyways, on our the system we were talking about, just writing your stuff down on a calendar, I honestly think that's probably the best system for students.
Yeah.
Because everything you're doing, it's how important it is. It has a weight and it has a deadline. And the calendar can keep both in it. Like I wrote the weights of all the things too on the calendar.
Okay. How did you assign weights?
Just the grade. Like this is worth 7%, this is worth 30%.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So I was like, oh, there's an important thing coming up. I'll do that.
I had a lab report about fly breeding.
Okay.
Last week that was I with the sort of weighting thing. If I was to do that, I have absolutely no idea how it would scale. So I'll get your opinion on this.
Okay.
So it's worth 5% of your final grade in the course.
Okay.
It's for the tutorial, but the tutorial is just part of the main course.
Okay.
So you get 5% of your final grade, but if you don't pass it, then you fail the course.
Love those.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Love those.
Yeah. Like, why not make it more if it's that important?
Yeah, I know, right? I don't think I've had anything like that where if you just don't pass one like lab, you fail.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Midterms and stuff.
But I mean, I was fine with it because it was very interesting and very related to the content. So I'm like, all right, cool. I don't mind putting a lot of effort into this. But I was just like, I wish it was worth more because I was putting so much effort in.
Yeah, no, I've had like 10% like midterms that if you fail the course. And if you don't go to class, you fail the course.
Oh, like just participation grade? Or attendance grade?
Yeah, just attendance.
I've had that in Spanish, we had that.
Yeah, if you don't go to class, you fail. Or if you don't go to 3.
Also, in the same tutorial, it's for genetics.
Yeah.
It's the one where it's like you need to pass this 5% assignment to pass the course. If you miss more than 1 tutorial, then you fail.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it a tutorial that people would go to anyways?
Well, everybody, I don't know, just because everyone does, because they don't want to fail.
Yeah, because I had the Introduction to Engineering in the first semester of university.
Yeah.
And that had that rule. If you miss 3 classes without an excuse, you fail.
Yeah.
And that was entirely just because no one would go to class.
Oh, just because it's useless?
It was absolutely
Oh, no, this is very useful. Like, it was like at least probably 20% of the exam content was covered like only in tutorial.
Because usually they just introduce attendance marks if no one's going to go.
No, it's just because it's so important. They're like, for all of you students who skip all your tutorials, don't. This one's actually important.
Actually. That's a much better use of the of that tool.
If it's useless, then just stop having the tutorial.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
If you could just get rid of the entire Introduction to Engineering class, that'd be awesome.
Because it's useless?
Yeah, the first half of it was just you got people from each of the engineering departments to come in and give like a PowerPoint presentation.
Nice. Oh, that was my
That was okay.
I had in first year honors physics, we had a physics seminar.
Okay.
That was like listed as one of our courses. So I was like, wait, what if 6 courses 1A? That's weird. but it was just because it was like a seminar that was like for an hour and a half on Friday.
Okay.
And it was literally just a different guest speaker every week coming in.
Okay.
And there was zero work to do, 0 marks associated with it. It was just like on our schedule because they're like, you might find this interesting. And like maybe 1/3 of the time it was. But the other 2/3, people actually brought pillows for the first 2 weeks before they discovered, hey, wait a minute. We're in university. We don't have to go to this. Because they're just fresh out of high school. But they're like, wait, we don't have to go to this. We can just not go.
All right, I kind of keep ranting about this goddamn introduction to engineering class because there was a battle between the like professor and the students to get people actually into the class because they take attendance through iClicker marks, which is basically just like
it's Reef, right?
Yeah, it's Reef.
So you can do that at home if you just log into your computer and have your homie in class tell you when it's going.
Yeah,
you can.
But yeah, so for those of you, the listeners who don't know, it's this little remote control you get, and it's got multiple choice buttons, like 4 of them usually.
Yeah,
Teacher
A, B,
puts
C,
up
D,
questions, and then you answer them.
Oh, but you have to log into room code, which is a 2-letter code. Yeah. So it's like you turn on your clicker, and you're in lecture hall 3. So you put in, it'll say on the wall like DE or something.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, it's generally actually a really cool way to get the class to like interact with the professor, to get an interaction with each of the students.
Yeah.
So you all commit to an answer. It can be really cool.
Oh, you have to all commit?
Usually if you want marks, yeah.
For mine, yeah, you have to answer every question for the ones I've done, but like everybody can pick a different answer.
Oh, yeah. No. Everybody picks a different answer. I mean, you have to commit to an answer.
Oh, yeah. You can't just be those people who the prof's like, so do you think that this would happen? And then like a quarter of the people raise their hand. And then he's like, or do you think that this would happen? In like a chemical reaction. And then another quarter of people raise their hand. And then just half the people do nothing.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
So yeah, like Evan said, what you can do is just be at home or outside the room getting text from your friend who's inside the class so that you can answer at the right time. Like,
hey, put a clicker now.
Yeah.
Like, just put any random answer, because usually, well, I'd say about half the time, for the grades of the course, it matters if it's correct.
Yeah.
Ones I've had, it's like, you get 1 mark for answering and 1 mark for it being correct.
Yeah, it depends on the course.
So, yeah.
But yeah, this absolutely infuriated the professor that people would dare to sit outside while she's teaching and answer the questions. So what they did was put in absolutely bullshit questions into it, like what shape is this? And it'll be like an oval, right? And they'll give you like 5 seconds to answer, and if you hit the wrong button, you count it as not being there at the class. So if you, in your rush to answer the thing, hit the wrong button, you're f***ed. Like,
that's actually crazy.
Yeah, it was insane.
Like, if the course is that useless, people aren't going to show up.
But they had to, because you need this course.
That's so wild.
You actually can't move forward without the
Or just recognize that people don't need to learn that. If like, I assume there's an exam.
Yes. Oh my god.
And I assume everyone did really well.
Average, I think.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, if everyone did really well and people
the fucking exam had riddles on it.
What?
It had
like how?
Like a dog, a horse, a goose, and a chicken walk into a barn, and then don't
tell me the answer, by the way. I want to figure it out.
I actually don't. I'm making this up. Yeah, I don't remember what it actually was, but it's something like that. And then it's some rules about like the mammals walk out first, or a mammal walk out first, and like some stuff like that. And you have to figure out which one walked out last or something like that.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's stuff like that.
Why?
Yeah. So there's things like that.
I mean, what?
And there was a bunch of just randomly some electrical engineering on there.
You're like, well,
it was just like circuit diagrams? No. Or there might have been like a quick 10 minutes on it. I don't know.
That's wild.
No, stuff like that. It was in that class. It just, no.
But would going to tutorial have help?
Yeah, you had to go to tutorial. Those were the lectures.
Oh, those were the lectures?
Those were the lectures.
Oh.
The tutorials started out as just MATLAB, and then it became projects where like the final project was like you were in a group of 12 and you had to help the disabled community.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just like go out in the world and do that?
No.
Oh.
You had to use reverse engineering to help the disabled
Just like
community.
find your nearest disabled person and help them, please.
I don't know if anyone actually talked to a disabled person or not.
Ever.
Yeah, probably not ever. Anyways, that was that class.
What if the last question on the exam for that course was just find your nearest disabled person and help them? And so when everyone gets the last question, they just run out of the room and into like the streets of Toronto and just like find someone.
I don't know what would happen if that was the last question.
You should ask the prof to do that.
I'm not going to talk to her. Not going to happen.
Understandable.
So yeah, that's the system that I think is best for university students.
You wanna do that again, Chief? Nah, they got it.
They got it. Yeah, that's fine. What do you think about that? Like, does that meet like all your needs, kind of?
Honestly, that's mainly just a reminder for stuff. Like the way I actually increase my productivity is with the checklist.
Okay, yeah.
On my phone, because with the app, if you click the check box and it like puts a line through it and moves all the unchecked items above it.
Okay.
So that is very nice when you're like, I just checked off all these things. I feel so good. I'm so productive. You know.
That makes sense.
So like honestly, that's what makes me do stuff rather than just seeing it on my calendar.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. It's just like at the beginning of the day, you kind of brain dump.
Hey?
Like, you think about all the things that you have to do that day, and you put them down.
Oh, that's the night before usually.
Oh, the night before. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I'm like going to bed or something, I'm like, wait a minute, tomorrow I have to dissect those flies in class again. Better remember to do that. You know, we actually dissected in my zoology course. We dissected crayfish, starfish, smallmouth bass, clams,
all
right, big worms,
and
there's something else absolutely ridiculous. What was it? It was so weird because like most of those, I'm like, this is food. Like I'm like shucking a clam, right? So it was weird, and especially the fish. I was like, I feel like I'm just cleaning a fish, but it's smoked in. It's not smoked. It's it's soaked in formaldehyde.
Yeah.
So I really don't want to eat it, but I still buy it.
No.
You know.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I'm really good at derailing this podcast.
Yeah, it's interesting for the most part. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
If it's not, we'll cut it. It's fine.
No, we won't. We're just gonna play this start to finish.
Fair enough. Uncut.
Yeah.
Raw.
Nice.
Coming into your ears raw.
Isn't that a South Park thing with the South Park movie?
Raw, probably.
Bigger, longer, and uncut, wasn't it?
Yeah, actually, I think that's what it's called. Yeah.
Shout out to the South Park movie. Buy it on Amazon. Maybe.
You could, actually. Yeah. Why not? I'll link it now.
You get so much money, Aiden.
So much. Buy stuff from our affiliate links. Or go to standardhumans.com and go to the how to support the show page.
We have that?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. What do we have? How do you support the show? I actually don't know.
At the moment, it's just tell your friends and use these links when you shop on Amazon. So I have the Canadian one and the American one. So if you just click on the the Canadian link and then search around, do your shopping in that tab, we get some commissions because we sent you over there.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I know, right? So
wow, technology these days is just crazy.
Yeah, seriously.
Who knew?
And I have some other ideas for things in the future, but we actually need listeners for that. So
yeah,
listen.
So anyway, back to content. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so that was kind of the system that I was using for a while.
Yeah.
And then I found that I just wasn't doing stuff, so I decided to several times to completely try and overhaul the system.
All right.
And read about productivity and do as much as I could. And
you see, Elon Musk really thinks we live in a computer simulation. And he's really productive, so...
Not even. This is getting right into the book of David Allen.
Who's David Allen?
It's the guy who invented the getting things done methodology. He's big in the productivity world.
Wow. I would not enjoy that job.
It sounds all right. Traveling around sounds nice, and like it's a good system, but it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of productivity systems, they can be good in very specific cases.
Yeah, like, well, my dad, for like with the traveling thing.
Yeah.
He travels to Mexico a lot for business. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, what do you see? Like, what parts of Mexico are you in? Like, what do you see? And he's like, well, the cars and the boardrooms are cool, and I see nothing else. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Nice. That kind of sucks.
Yeah, a little bit, actually. But anyways, yeah. So I was trying to completely overhaul it a few times. I think the main problem was I just didn't want to do the work, so I just didn't. And instead, like, tried to figure out how to set up good systems instead of actually doing the work. And that just ended up in me not doing the work. I
feel like that's how that man we're talking about got his, like, actual job. I feel like he was just doing that for so long when he's like, wait, I'm really good at this.
Yeah, that's actually most people in the productivity space. They're actually the worst at being productive, just in general. So they've developed such amazing, like, habits and systems to keep them on track.
Well, lazy people are the reason things get invented.
That's fair, yeah.
Because it's like cars. People are like, why don't you just ride a horse or walk, you lazy f***? And then they're like, nah, I don't want to. That's too far. Fair. So they make a car.
That's true. That's exactly how it happened, probably, actually.
Who's to say? Not even one person knows. Cars just appeared one time.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, I looked into a bunch of systems. Like, his system, the getting things done, it's pretty cool. Like, if it works less good in the modern day. I think he invented like 20 or 30 years ago or something, like before the phones and the internet.
Oh, no.
So it's all based around contexts, which is basically you can only do certain work in certain places or with certain people or with certain tools. So you have a list for each of those different contexts. So you can only see the things that you can do right now. And you're not like going through and having to like search through the list every time you look at it, at all the things and seeing all the things that you can't do right now.
I sort of do that myself a little bit.
Oh, do you?
Like, just when I need to do schoolwork, I go to this one study room on campus and do my schoolwork. And I do, like, most of my schoolwork there. Okay. Some of it I do it at home if I just, like, can't be bothered.
Yeah, yeah.
Or if it's really easy. Or, like, I'm very interested in it, so it doesn't matter. But, like, most schoolwork I do in this one, specific study room. And then, because when I'm there, there's, like, not much there besides, like, textbooks. So I'm like, all right. I'm just going to work because there's nothing else to do.
Makes sense. Oh, yeah, I guess you just not take your phone or any electronics.
I just leave it in my bag.
Okay.
I mean, I have to use my computer to work.
Oh, yeah.
Because literally this entire semester I've submitted one thing and maybe two things in, like, paper form. Everything else is online, which is kind of whack and I hate it. But
yeah,
it's the way it is. So.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the main problem with the system is just like you can do anything on a computer nowadays. I mean, if you're in a type of job or place or whatnot that you can use this system, oh my god, it sounds great.
Yeah.
But like everything just falls into the same context, which is annoying. And there's no way to prioritize stuff in the system, really. No.
Well, I guess, but it doesn't matter if you just get everything done.
Yeah, that's the idea. You pretty much get everything done. And anytime you're in that context, you just pull out the list and you start doing stuff. But I think that is definitely a weakness to it. It depends on what you have to do, I guess.
Yeah. Like if you've got a manageable amount of stuff and it is conceivable that it can all get done, then it's no worries because you just do everything.
Yeah.
But
even then, I think it's good to prioritize somewhat. Set the priorities.
I mean, you could probably just priority by enjoyment.
To a certain extent, yeah. A way I've heard like that kind of thing described really well was if you set up kind of like a graph. On one axis, you have your passion for your thing, so the enjoyment of it. And then on the other side, it's your skill or how good you are at it. You want to try and be at like the top right corner up there where you're most passionate about it, you're having fun, and you're good at it. Because if you are in the area where you're passionate about it, but you're not good at it, that's like the distraction zone.
See, I feel like
having fun.
I feel like my main like things to spend my time doing are either top left or bottom right. I'm very good at them, but they're not interesting to me. Or I'm very bad at them, but they're very interesting to me.
Yeah, so ideally, you would be in neither of those.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I think the ideal is to be like 90% top right.
Yeah.
And like 0 bottom left.
Yeah. I mean, I don't imagine anyone would have much inclination to do things they're neither interested in or good at.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, sometimes I think you might have to.
Sometimes you have to.
I feel like you would get fired, though, if you were doing that.
If you're
maybe not.
Doing a large amount of things that you're neither good at nor interested in.
Yeah. Someone might notice eventually.
No passion or skill. Just...
I think that's basically the basis of The Office, right?
Well, I don't know. Michael Scott's kind of like, he's got the passion and the skill for his job, but he's just the worst.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, he's actually pretty good at his job, but he's just the worst person.
I guess he just never does it in the first season, because I didn't watch the first one.
No, later he like...
Oh, he's actually good at his job?
Well, yeah, in a later season.
You're blowing my mind here.
They're like, he gets called down to corporate because they're like, so you're
spoilers
branch.
For The Office.
Yeah, if you haven't watched The Office already, what are you doing? I mean, I haven't finished it.
I think it's old enough that it's fine.
Yeah, I also haven't finished it. I only watched up to season 5, and then I'm like, the cringe is too powerful. I can't take it.
There.
But so
that was me after season 1.
Yeah. But in like season 3 or 4, he gets called down to corporate because they're like, your branch is the leading branch in the company.
Wow.
How? Because like the corporate guys know that he's like a complete idiot, so they're like, how? Wow. And so they like send somebody to shadow him and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the person just doesn't understand because they're like, he's doing nothing. Why is it so good? So
that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. They'll probably explain it later, but I could not be bothered. Be like Michael Scott, everyone.
Yeah, and just be good at your job. Yeah,
be good at your job and have passion for it, but just be the worst.
You can't be all 3, so you might as well be those 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I think we'll take it back a little bit. I was talking about my systems, and I was just having like wanting to redo it, but I think I do kind of need to, or not necessarily need to, like upgrade
from like the one you described.
A calendar.
The one you described is what you do now.
Which one? The getting things done?
Like the weighting and the color system.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the color system. The one in the OneNote with the calendar.
Yeah, that's now?
That's not now. I haven't done that for a little while.
Okay. What's your current system?
Honestly, for the past little while, I've just been on like mainly remembering, I think, and like not having to do much and like repeatedly writing things down on paper.
When you're not in school, that actually works. Like,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like last summer when I was just doing a regular job, had no school, like no online course or anything, was living with my parents. So I didn't have to do many household chores. I mean, I did, but obviously they would remind me because I'd be like, holy shit, do your job. But so I would just show up to work same time every day, leave work same time every day. So literally the only thing that I would have to remember was like when I had to put my courses for the next semester and when I was like chilling with this dude like on this day. And that's it. Yeah. So that it was just remembering because that's easy because it's like, oh shit, today's Tuesday, I'm hanging with Billiam today. Like, you know.
And like for a couple of weeks I used just in like a little journal rolling task list, which was basically just a bunch of tasks, and you know when you're done you cross it off.
All right.
And it just keeps going. It's just a list, and I didn't have that much to do for a while, so it was fine. It worked.
Yeah. But then during school, you need like a bit more organization. Because if it's just I mean, at the beginning of this semester, I'm like, because I was coming off a work semester, I'm like, I can just remember shit.
Yeah.
And then it was like, nah, I can't.
That's not,
I mean, I remember it, but I remember it like, as in, like, I'll be rolling up to class and before I walk in and be like, oh shit, that was due today. So.
But yeah, I think I'm going to need a bit of an upgrade from just using the calendar system.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you're just doing school, the calendar works because the due dates are the most important thing. but there isn't too much like prioritizing there isn't too much prioritizing.
Yeah.
And there also isn't really much of an acknowledgement of like how much time you have in a day when you're just looking at a month calendar. You just say, I need to get these things done today, but you don't say, I have 6 hours today that I can do work in.
Yeah.
Each of these tasks is going to take 2 hours. I want to do 5 things.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm no physician, but that doesn't add up.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that now I'm trying to like take on a couple more responsibility type things.
Sorry, that woman needs to fix her overhead press form. What are you doing? You'll never make the Olympics that way. Yeah, we are currently in my apartment complex, sitting overlooking the gym. And a woman was doing a bad overhead press form.
There you go.
Yeah.
And she's left now, ashamed of herself.
Oh, good. Get out of here.
She probably like saw us staring.
You don't belong here. Get out of here. You never belonged here. Leave here, Susan.
Susan.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Now that she's gone.
Yeah, so I think that I'm going to need to upgrade because in addition to school, we've got the podcast going on.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about trying to start a blog.
Oh.
Yeah, talking, I think, a lot about the same stuff as what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Just in another form, another medium.
The world of text.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think it's very close to this, so it's a lot of the same thinking. Synergistic work.
Yeah.
I can do like both at the same time.
All right.
That, and I think I'm going to try and work a little bit through the next semester too.
Like
paid
paid work.
Yeah, like an actual like job kind of thing.
Well, not being broke is very nice.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's kind of the dilemma I've been in now because I want so many views and things, and I'm still trying to figure out. And on top of that, you also need to keep track of like housework and like health stuff.
Have you ever thought of for like getting views and stuff, becoming like an e-boy?
An e-boy?
Yeah.
What's an e-boy?
It's like a have you ever heard of an e-girl?
No.
Have you ever heard of like a you can find out later.
All right, we'll find out later.
Everyone in the audience, all 4 of you, you know. Actually, no, 3 of you know, because Aiden doesn't know. But everyone else.
Everyone else, maybe, might know. We'll see.
Cam girl, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, no, that's okay.
Why not?
I mean, maybe. Never gonna work an office job. Do anything else.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, just to try and keep track of all of that and like to try and prioritize the stuff, make sure I'm getting the most important stuff done and letting not as important stuff fall by the wayside kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to figure that out.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
That was a completely silent yawn.
That was until you said it. It was good.
But anyway, back to productivity.
Yeah, so I've got.
I'm honestly like my mission in life is to derail you from what you're trying to say.
Man,
like,
you do it a lot. It's quite good job.
Like you'll be like, so anyway, this like actual like topic, and then I'm like, wait, but look at that squirrel giving birth behind you. What about that? And you're like, oh wow.
No, Evan, it's just Susan. It's
not
a squirrel.
Oh, sorry, her form's just so bad that I was really shocked. Well, now she's squatting. Can't tell if she stopped.
Yeah. Oh,
maybe.
Fine. Anyways, I've got a couple of ideas for how to keep track of stuff. Like, me and Jess came up with, I think, a pretty good system for like housework the other night that I got to like try and figure out how to implement.
Is it you put both your names on a little slider, and then you like have the week's chores, and then you turn it in the next week when all the chores are done?
I have no idea what you're saying, and no.
It's like a little like round like slider thing. That on the inside is everybody who lives in the apartment's names, and on the outside are all the jobs.
Okay.
And then, so if your name lines up with this job, you have to do it that week. And then at the end of the week, once everybody's done their jobs, you like turn it so it's your turn to do the next job.
Interesting, but no.
Okay. Well, what is it?
Interesting though. Kind of using a sort of Kanban board.
What?
Which Kanban, it's another system. It was made by a Toyota engineer. It's generally used for making products. And it's a good way to like visualize the production process. It's basically like you start off with tasks in like backlog, then it's like stuff to do, then you're doing it, and then it needs to be reviewed, and then it's done.
Yeah. We had that at the production, like when I was a production technician.
Yeah.
The developers had, or like people who did more than I did, basically anyone who did more than I did, had one of those in their like office. It's like, but it was just to do, doing, done. Yeah.
So it depends on the company or how you want to do it.
Yeah.
I think that's basically what we're going to do is just stuff that's to do, stuff that you're doing, stuff that's done.
Yeah.
It's basically just set up who's doing the tasks and then have that like kind of in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I think that works for pretty much all the household stuff. Like you need to have dishes on there like 6 or 7 times and like vacuum a couple times. Sweep, what are the other
honestly things? You could just leave it in done until it needs to be done again, then you can just put it into to do.
No, refresh it at the beginning.
At the beginning of each week?
At the beginning of each week, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and then you can see as the week progresses, you're getting through all the things and making sure that everything's done on the weekly basis. So I think that's going to be awesome once we actually get that done.
That is pretty good.
And I think I kind of want to try and do that for all my other responsibilities, like that I just listed, like school, podcast, blog, job, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
In a similar manner, have like some kind of giant board, right, with a big to-do row at the top, and a doing row, and then a done row on the bottom.
Like how giant?
It'll depend on the amount of tasks, like something like a 2x3 kind of feet.
Oh, I was thinking like 10x7.
I mean, like, I don't think I have that much to do, especially if you just use like little like sticky note size things, like for all the tasks, and then basically just have like a column for like health, column for podcast, column for school stuff, column for blog, and you just start off. I think I'm gonna do it on like a semester basis.
All right.
And that just makes sure over the course of like 4 months, I can get all the things done.
I have to say, for like health stuff, like exercise mainly, that's the one thing where I've never really like had problems with procrastinating, because it's the only one where you actually like physiologically feel different after you've finished it. So like sometimes like you'll just like do something and then forget about it, and then for like half a second you're like, wait a minute, did I do that? But if it's like you went to the gym and like deadlifted 350 pounds, then you're gonna be like, yeah, I did that. I feel that, and you like feel good after like completing it and whatever. So that's why I've like that sort of thing. I've like never had a problem with procrastinating. Probably like my productiveness from most to least is like exercise, and then school, and then housework, which is like a distant last. Like. Yeah.
The apartment's usually pretty clean because I'll do anything to avoid like schoolwork. So like all the dishes are always done.
All right. Yeah, that's like me for exercise. If I'm like, I need to do the schoolwork, but I haven't gone for a run yet today, so I'll just do that. It'll only take like half an hour.
So I think that's kind of one of the things I'm gonna do to try and get a big overview and make sure that I'm getting all the priorities done, basically. And then I think on a more like daily basis, like some kind of just use like regular like Google Calendar to put in all the stuff for the week. Make sure I like block out time for important stuff. Yeah, that's
a pretty good idea. But see, the thing with that is the reason I don't do stuff like that is because that takes so much time that it's its own slot on the calendar, and like you have to take like 2 hours out of the beginning of every month to do it, and I'm just like, nah, that takes too much time, and then I would just end up not doing it and just not refreshing my calendar, which would be bad. So I just leave it to the bare minimum. So I'm like, I know it needs to be done when, and that's it. So I can sort of just blame myself if I don't do it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that kind of at the beginning of every week. And I think it's good to do like a review almost at the beginning of every week to like set your priorities. What are the main things that you want to get done, and then set it up. So I think in that kind of time, it doesn't take that long to set up. Like it's like a 10-minute thing.
I actually understand with your whole like working in an office sort of thing, like how it helps productivity. Because again, when I worked last summer and the summer before at this job, every Monday we would have a meeting.
Yeah.
And they'd get Timbits and coffee from Tim's, and they would just say what needs to be, like what orders need to be completed for when, and like what needs like an R&D and whatever, what's going on and stuff. Actually, no, R&D's was a different guy, but like like what orders needed to be completed for like what day of the week and stuff, and like how many. Mm-hmm. And we do that all on Monday, and so then for the rest of the week we like know what we have to do. Mm-hmm. So, and like we get like he'd get updates from us on like what's like how many of those do you have completed and stuff. Mm-hmm. So okay, now I get it, because it's a lot easier when it's other people. When there's a whole like you can hold each other responsible.
Yeah, exactly.
So, because when it's just yourself, you're like you don't hold yourself responsible really. Well, like you do, but like
that's the whole thing. It's so appealing to be your own boss. But you don't realize you actually have to be your own boss.
Yeah, like you can't just not have a boss.
Yeah.
You have to be your own boss.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you gotta do stuff, like, as if another person asked you to do it.
Exactly. You have to think about if you were trying to get someone else to do this task or all these tasks, how would you do that?
Yeah. And like... And what if somebody asked you to do all these tasks?
How would you
would you just
that?
Would you just not do it like you would if it was yourself? No, you'd do it, at least mostly, because that would be really embarrassing if you didn't. So
yeah, that's why I think it's really useful to think about this externally.
Yeah.
So there's almost different parts of you. Like there's the boss.
That took me a whole hour to get, but I understand now. I just visualized it. Yeah.
Maybe the listeners are finally coming around too.
Yeah.
It just took me an hour to explain what I was thinking.
No, yeah, because like be your own boss, as if you like it wasn't yourself doing it, as if you had to lay it out specifically with the methods for somebody else, and then be your own person who works for you.
Yeah.
Because you take what needs to be done and do it as if you will get fired if you don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
That makes a lot more sense.
Thought. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Abe. That was really good.
You know what?
Thanks for that little nugget of knowledge.
We have that's actually a really good place to end. I think that's a good moral.
Thanks for that nugget of knowledge.
The other bit before that.
Ah, yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, f off Susan. Nah, she's gone.
Over there.
Oh, is it? Wait, what?
Yeah, she's on her phone.
Susan.
Susan.
This is why you'll never be in the Olympics.
Seriously. Weightlifters don't use their phones when they're supposed to be lifting.
Or ever.
Yeah, they don't use phones.
But anyway.
Fucking Susan.